Whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or even just getting out of college, there's no bad time to start rectifying your financial mistakes. Now, today I want you to buckle up because we are going to dive into a financial roller coaster that has cost me over 3 million dirhams. You heard that right. From reckless choices to missed opportunities, join me as I spill the beans on 7 colossal financial mistakes that I have made in my 20s. Get ready to cringe, get ready to learn, and get ready to transform your financial future. Hey guys, it's Karthik and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be an absolute cringe fest. And why am I sharing all this? Because I haven't embarrassed myself in a long time. I'm just kidding. It's only so that you can recognize if you're making any of these financial mistakes, and hopefully one of these could save you an absolute fortune. Gosh, I wish sometimes I had a financial genie whispering sweet nothings into my ears, and that would prevent me from making these absolute blunders. Maybe this video can serve as that genie for you. Let's dive right in. So number 1 on the list is selling all my equities and not continuing my SIPs. So just before I went to do my MBA almost 13 years ago, I sold my entire equity portfolio, which was around 6 lakh rupees back in the day, and I had a 3,000 rupee EMI or an SIP that was going out of my account every single month. Now, had I held on to both these positions and continued that SIP over the last 13 years, this portfolio today would have been close to 300,000 dirhams. That is an enormous, ginormous loss, because in the last decade, the market has grown, or the S&P 500 or the global equities have grown over 12.5%. So if I had allowed my portfolio to compound over time, this would have been worth 300,000 dirhams today. Now, back in the day, I thought that, I'm going for my MBA. I don't want to have to track all of this. I don't have any income coming in. So how can I have 3,000 rupees going out of my account every month? But if I had that genie sitting next to me telling me, don't sell your equities, find another way to fund this MBA. My dad funded half of it. It's only the other half that I required this money for. Or even if someone had told me, continue or resume the SIP once you finish your MBA and start earning money again, things would have been far different today. So don't make the similar mistake. If you see yourself trapped in the same mistake, get yourself out, fix it now. Number 2 on my list of financial regrets is not investing in my 20s. Now, this is such a big one because in my 20s, I thought I was going to be a millionaire. All my businesses were going to, become unicorns, and why do I need to invest when I'm going to be a millionaire many times over, right? Wrong. Had I just invested 10% of what I made in my 20s, which was around 900 dirhams a month, that would have compounded to over 545,000 dirhams today. Now, when I think back and when I was running the numbers, my mind was exploding because I was like, I wish someone had told me this. I wish I knew that just taking a small portion of my money and putting it aside every single month could have really had such massive financial repercussions to my life. Now, irrespective of what you're doing, whether you're running a business, whether you're in a job, take 10% of your money, put it aside, invest it for the long term. Boy, here's a massively embarrassing one. Number 3 on the list is alcohol. I found a few of my Excel sheets from 2011 to 2013 when I just moved to Dubai. And hold on to your breath here, because the amount of money that I've spent on alcohol was close to 40% of my income. Now, I didn't have bills to pay. I stayed with my parents. There was no rent. I didn't have to take care of, groceries or any of the household expenses. So every penny that I made was pretty much like pocket money, or that's how I treated it, because I have spent, for those 4 years, I have spent close to 40% of my money on alcohol. And I don't have the numbers for many years in the middle, and maybe there were, ups and downs and differences in the amounts of money that I spent on alcohol, but 4,000 dirhams a month, that is a ginormous amount. And hold on to your breath, because had I taken that money and invested that 4,000 dirhams into any index fund or any ETF, whether it was in India or the S&P 500, that amount would have been a whopping 950,000 dirhams today, almost $1 million dirhams. I just look at that and I'm just like, I want to tear my eyes out, because I'm not saying I wouldn't have had any alcohol, I wouldn't have partied at all, but even if I had taken half that money and invested, it would have still been close to 500,000 dirhams today, which is more money than I have in cash sitting today, and that would have just been a completely different financial report card for me today. Now, there might be some exaggeration and some drama in these numbers, because I honestly don't have the entire amount of money that I've spent in the last 10 years or 15 years on alcohol, but It's just again to give us some perspective on how those financial decisions that we've taken or are taking today and what repercussions they can have in the future. So it's not just about alcohol. Maybe that's something you love spending money on and you've budgeted for it and you've accounted for it. But if you are not aware of how much money you're spending, it could be something else. It could be a gym membership that you renew every year, or it could be some other expense that is something that's not adding value to your life and you're not moving ahead financially. Cutting back on that and actually moving that money into an investment account could cost you $1 million dirhams in 10 or 15 years. Number 4 on the list is something that I can vouch that 99% of people living in Dubai are falling for, are blowing up money on, or are being set back financially massively. It's spending too much money on our car. When I moved to Dubai in 2011, I bought a beat down Honda Civic for about 25,000 dirhams, and it would break down every other week. And I said, I'm done with this, I'm buying a new car. And I went out and stretched myself to almost 3 times more to buy a car. I wanted the 2.5 liter engine, the cruise control, the Bose speakers and all the other works. And I ended up paying 23% of my income on maintaining that car. That includes your EMI, that includes fuel costs, parking, renewals, registration, insurance, and all the works. All of that cost me 23% of my income. Now, had I known what I know today, I would have spent less than 8% on my car. That means 800 to $1,000 back in the day. And had I invested the difference, again, this amount would have been over 355,000 dirhams today. Just had I put that money into an investment account and allowed it to compound over the last decade, this would have been almost $100,000. Now, living in Dubai comes with an inbuilt privilege that we need to have a nice car, but keeping up with the Joneses, if it's going to cost me 3, 4, 500,000 dirhams in the next decade, I'm okay to drive a slightly worse off car. There's so many times that I think I'm gonna invest in a new car, but I just can't justify it because my income today is not at a level where I want to spend a couple of thousand dirhams every month on a car, because it also comes with your maintenance, service, insurance costs are high, there's fuel costs are high, parking costs are high, all of it adds up, and all of this should be anywhere between 8 to 10% max of what you take. Point number 5 is buying life insurance. When I moved to Dubai in 2011, an insurance salesman convinced me or successfully sold me a whole of life insurance plan. Now, this cost me $232 every month, which is about $850 a month, and I've been paying this for the last 12 years. Now, had I done my research, had I known, had I had somebody actually sit down and explain to me that there are 2 kinds of life insurance, whole of life insurance and term life insurance. If I paid $230 every month for whole of life, I could have bought the same insurance or got the same insurance plan for $20 a month had I bought term life. The rest of the 90% in the whole of life insurance goes towards an investment, apparently. And the first 2 years that you pay premiums on a whole of life insurance, they go towards paying off commissions, charges, fees, and all that other stuff. Now, all of this is regulated today, or there are a lot of these things, but still we need to understand that you can buy a term life plan for 10% of the cost of a whole of life. Now, because I've already paid this for 12 years, there's a little bit of a cash value sitting there, which is about $25,000-$30,000. It doesn't really make sense for me to get out of it now. I will start a term plan at some point in the near future, but had I not got into this whole of life and bought a term life plan instead and used that 90% of the money that was left over and invested that money in the stock market, that today would have been worth 283,000 dirhams. Just blows my mind, because today what I have is around $20,000 or $25,000, which is less than 100,000 dirhams. This amount could have been close to 300,000 dirhams. Number 6 on this really embarrassing list is lending money to friends. Now, this is a really tricky one, because this might not cost you a lot financially, but this really works on a lot of other aspects of our mental state, right? They say if you want to lose a friend, lend them money. Now, this is something that I have again fallen prey to. Friends have come and asked me for rent money or amounts here and there, and over the years this has really added up. Now, I do have the timelines of exactly when I lent money to whom and how much that money was, and I'll tell you how much it's cost me. But this is one of those really tricky ones, because sometimes when people are desperate, they have no choice but to ask you for money. Now, there might be times if it's a brother like friend, don't even question it, because you're not expecting that money to come back. But here's the rule of thumb: if you're expecting that money to come back and you're putting yourself in financial jeopardy by helping someone else, please don't do it. Respectfully, politely say no. Trust me, you'll keep that relationship and that friend will figure it out themselves. But if you give them money, you're going to be chasing them, you're going to be following up, they're going to have to creatively draft beautiful messages to tell you why they can't pay you back, and it's going to be an absolute chaos. So do not lend money to friends if you're expecting that money to come back. And just for completeness of this video, had I not given that money to friends and invested that money, it would have been 78,000 dirhams today. It's not a lot of money in hindsight, but I've lost those friends. You know, those friends don't call me anymore, they don't pick up my calls. And just to also tell you, I've been in tough situations in my life and I have gone to my friends and asked them for money and they've always said no. And I respect them today because they're all my friends today. They've never ever told me or held it against me. I was in a tough situation. I asked for money. They said no. With friends today, even 10, 15 years later. All right, we're getting close to the end. Number 7 on the list is not negotiating my salary. At the age of 20, I got an offer letter for the first time in my life and I was so happy I signed on it. More than a decade later, I got another offer letter. I was so happy I signed on it without even bothering to negotiate. Now, I was so shy and so naive and not confident in my own abilities that I didn't even think about negotiating my salary. I didn't even think that I almost thought that, oh my God, if I ask them for more money, they will reject or not accept me as a candidate to, or not accept me in their organization. But research shows that more than 50% of the people never negotiate their salary. However, 85% of people who do negotiate actually get that offer that they were looking for. And this compounds over time because at the age of 20, 25, 30, 35, our career is 25, 30 years long. If we start negotiating our salaries, even if you start today, that could make an enormous impact on the rest of your life. And research shows, actually ChatGPT tells me, because it was very difficult to calculate the numbers on this because I didn't have a job. I ran a business for about 7, 8, 9 years. So very difficult for me to get the actual numbers. But ChatGPT tells me on a hypothetical situation that I have lost out on over 250,000 dirhams. This number could be much more for you if you've been in a career or you intend on being in your career, for the foreseeable future. Start negotiating your salary. Don't be shy, because if you do actually believe in your abilities, your company will pay you for your services. Now, before I jump into the bonus point, if you relate to any of these or if you fall in prey to any one of these points, do let me know which one in the comments below. If you know someone who perhaps is falling for it at this current moment, feel free to share it with them, and let's jump right into the bonus point. All right, so a couple of years ago, I watched a video by Patrick Bet-David. Incredible guy, runs an amazing channel called Valuetainment. And he looked at the camera and he said this. He said, I know you. You have that one habit, that one vice, that one skeleton in your closet, which only you know, which no one else knows, and you are allowing it to drain you of your resources. And he looked at the screen and he spoke to me, and I obviously knew what that one skeleton in my closet was, and I'm gonna share it with you right now. It's something that most people in my life don't know, and that was actually gambling. I used to play poker and I was terrible. I was terrible at poker, and I realized this way too late, but I lost a lot of money playing poker, and a lot of money, and embarrassing amounts. And when I watched that video by Patrick Bet-David and he looked at the screen and looked me in the eye, he was talking to my soul. And that was the day, it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I decided, I'm done. I deleted everyone's number, I deleted all the groups, I literally cut all those people out of my life, and I said, I am done with this. And I'm going to look you in the eye today and tell you that there is that one thing. Yes, it's there. You know what it is. No one else knows, which is costing you money. It's costing you mindshare. It's costing you sleepless nights. I would get sleepless nights thinking about that one big hand I lost. I would wake up in the morning thinking how I'm not going to do that the next time. And it would just, it ran my life. It distracted me from other great things that I wanted to do. And this is not just a financial blunder, this is a life blunder. And that's why I didn't want to add it in the 7 points. This is a bonus point. If you can figure what that is for yourself, actually you already know it, and cut that out today, along with the other 7 points, it could drastically change your life. Just know that these regrets of mine aren't just financial lessons for you to take away. They are actually the pathway to financial freedom. And allow this video to be that financial genie in your life. And if you have any financial regrets that you feel the rest of us can benefit from, please do leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you on another video. Cheers.